Good evening and welcome to tonight's Undaunted, bringing to the news untold stories. I am Oyin Okbala. Let's begin. In the British Southern Cameroons, a nation plagued by rampant insecurity, residents are increasingly taking the law into their own hands. The alarming rise in armed robbery, kidnapping, and extortion has created a climate of fear, forcing citizens to resort to mob justice in a desperate bid to protect themselves, their children, and their communities. The statistics are staggering, and the stories are heart-wrenching. In recent months, the nation has witnessed a sharp increase in kidnappings, with victims often subjected to physical harm, emotional trauma, and extortion. The killings and detentions have become all too common, with families and communities left to pick up their pieces. In a shocking incident that will highlight the desperation gripping the nation, locals in Njah village took matters into their own hands to protect a businessman from abduction. The violent confrontation resulted in the death of one presumed kidnapper and the capture of another. This incident is a deep reminder of the breakdown in law and order and the growing sense of hopelessness among residents. As the situation continues to deteriorate, the people of the British Southern Cameroons are crying out for help. They demand greater security, effective governance, and an end to the impunity that has allowed crime to flourish. Will their pleas be heard, or will the nation continue to slide in chaos? Of course not. The Ambazonian government is doing the needful. But that's not all we have for you. But we would only do that right after the prime headlines. Right, tonight, the lecturer detained over raped of minors. Oh well, we'll have that report coming up tonight. Colonial police brutality and the erosion of public trust is another report, while the Njah population renders mob justice against presumed kidnap gang. Also tonight, an Undaunted, a man has died 3 months after release from La Republic to Cameroon Colonial dungeon. Mali suspends artisanal mal permit for foreigners after accidents. China strikes energy jackpot. Vast thorium deposits discovered in Inner Mongolia. Well, let's get the news info briefings. Well, on Tuesday, we reported of a rape case in Bamenda. A university lecturer was arrested for allegedly sexually abusing children. The 57-year-old Wilbur Julius is an economics teacher at the University of Bamenda. He is being accused of having raped 7 minors aged 2 to 13. The Colonial police took the accused after parents reported their concerns, according to Emmanuel Mbok. A Colonial commissioner, Wilbur had initially admitted to the charges but later claimed he was innocent. Well, after being questioned, the culprit was presented to the press on the 28th of February. His arrest is being celebrated in the community, with many demanding justice for the young victims, especially as others are worried about the safety of their children. Locals and parents are understandably scared and are calling for justice and better protection for their children. Meanwhile, they are asking anyone with more information about this case should come forward, or any rape case at all, as this has become the order of the day. But I stand base here. On Tuesday, we started this discussion, and you were saying once the proof has been there, you support that, he should go through trials and the law should take its course. Well, this is where we are, where the law is about to take this course. As a lecturer, do you think that he may likely get preferential treatment, or you think that he might just be treated just like others?
I don't know how he'll be treated, but what I can tell you is what the law requires him to be treated. If he's a lecturer, it means he's a senior guy, he's a teacher by simple language. In other words, he has authority over the kids. And whoever has authority over another person and misuses that authority, aggravated sentencing. If the story is true that he has confessed, well, he has confessed before the investigators. His confession needs to be validated before a court of law. And if validated, he should face the maximum plus. Why? Because of his position as a teacher. 2, because of the victims' ages. They are minors by every standard of imagination. Who poses a danger to minors must face twice the consequence than he or she does to people of age. I said it earlier, that rape is common, but rape against minors is aggravated theft. Rape against minors by people who have authority over the minor teachers, guy, is more aggravated. And so this guy is a danger to the society. He should not receive, if he has to receive any preferential treatment, his preferential treatment before the court of law should be aggravation, not favors. Not favors. In other words, if ordinary rape would earn you, say, 10 years in jail, because of your position as a teacher, because of the ages of your victim, you should have twice the penalty. But that is the law. But we know what Cameroon is. Who knows? I would pray it should not be the thing. That this guy can shuffle a few notes under the table and have something less or nothing at all as punishment. That is possible in Cameroon, that we know. And so this guy, I said earlier, is a danger to the community as a whole because he's raping kids. The kids are everywhere. Kids are running around behind your house, in front of your house, in your kitchen and going out, in the playground. They're everywhere. And so this is a terribly dangerous person who should be taken off the streets. Again, showing him to the public, he confessing to the public is not yet the right thing. That's not the end of it. His confession should be taken before the court of law, where it will be validated and will earn what he deserves. That's what it is. I hope the story is not true. If it is true, people who live around schools like that should be careful with their kids. And again, as you asked, how far can a parent take care of a kid? How far do you protect your own child? Simple lessons. Teach your children not to accept on gifts. Kids. These things are attracted to children. Teach your children not to go roaming around the streets everywhere. If they must play, let them play around your house where there's some supervision so as to avoid this. Because those children, they might never recover from the shock of the rape for the rest of their lives. And so that guy, it is true, he, like any other rapist, should be taken out of the streets. Not kept in prison, in police custody. His rightful place is the jail. His rightful place is Kondenge if he's in Yaoundé, or Bamenda Upper Station if he's in Bamenda. The prisons were not created to keep Ambazonians as they're doing, catching them in the streets and locking them up. The prisons were created to keep criminals such as this guy. But today, in spite of the crime rate in Cameroon, the prisons, especially in Bamenda, Buea, Yaoundé, and Douala, are full. They are all they are, in fact, too full that there's no space for them. But too full of what? Not too full of Ambazonians, too full of people who are taken there just for having a different opinion in politics. Why? the criminals such as these ones roam the streets, commit more crimes, and nobody holds them accountable. So, again, let the law take its course. Even in the jungle state of the Cameroon, because whatever thing they will provide to Gaga in Bamenda is the legal system of Cameroon. It's not Ambazonia. But at least there are some remedies found within the law to take this man out of the streets, to save the community from such danger anymore. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. But just like you said, children should be cautioned and all of that. But children will always be children. Adults who are supposed to be responsible should be responsible. You know, these are children between 2 to 13 years. What can they do? But it's very alarming, because this is not even the first case of, rape that we have treated here. Adults should be able to control themselves, and not just children. What can a child do? A child is a child. You know how children are. You could be taming one, and the next minute, the next one is out there. You can't really have that total control. But I really understand where you're coming from. But I definitely insist that adults should take responsibility for their actions. And any adult who is caught in a compromising situation as this, the needful should be done. Anyways, moving on. While armed robbery and kidnapping rates are on the rise, residents in the British Southern Cameroon are increasingly resorting to mob justice. A recent violent incident occurred in Njah village, where locals took matters into their own hands to protect a businessman from abduction. This led to the death of one of the presumed kidnappers and captivation of another. Well, in Njah village, located near Achatugi in Bengui, residents confronted a gang attempting to kidnap a local businessman. In their defense, they killed one attacker and handed the other to the local Colonial place. Witnesses report that 2 men were involved in the kidnapping attempt, and the village vigilante group acted swiftly, capturing 1 suspect and recovering 2 AK-47 rifles, motorcycles, and mobile phones. Also, some gang members were said to have escaped, and the villagers promised to track them down. This event is part of a broader pattern of mob justice in Ambazonia, with similar incidents reported in Njah and Pine some weeks back. Barrister Mbeseha, I know you do not subscribe to mob justice. We do not subscribe to mob justice. But in a situation where the security, in quotes, the colonial security, who are supposed to be, taking care of the people, protecting the people, all we hear about them is extorting money from people. In a situation where they are not there to secure the people, to protect the people, and then we hear of kidnapping, we hear of rape, we hear of extortion. It seems the people are now their own security. And this is what it has resulted to, doing the wrong things, trying to correct a wrong person. Let's get your thoughts.
Well, what we know worldwide is that criminality did not start with Cameroon. Criminality did not start with Africa. Criminality did not start with Amazonia. We have a criminal code, a penal code to punish criminals. In that penal code are listed a number of things that if you do, you are a criminal. For example, extorting money from people, kidnapping people. These are all crimes punishable under the criminal law. But the issue is why are the citizens left at the mercy of this law? Why are they doing this for themselves? If people come to rob you, the law allows that. For example, if someone is attacking you with a gun or with a cutlass, in this case AK-47, and you have something to eliminate that guy, you are perfectly right. You are within the law to do that. You are within the law to do that because you are acting in self-defense of yourself or your property or someone that belongs. But when you get that guy, the suspect, and subdue the person by catching the guy, like in this instant case, taking away his or her arms, AK-47 as it was the case, it ceases to be a danger. So you cannot kill That's what they call mob justice. At that time, you are wrong. But back to Cameroon, why are people doing this? Here they were caught by the vigilante of the community. Those are untrained security people trained by the villagers to secure themselves. How did it get down to this level? Anywhere in Cameroon and particularly in Ambazonia? He must ask the question. You say, we still have the police college there, which is open almost a day in a year. They train thousands of policemen. Gendarmerie schools, where they train gendarmes. In principle, these gendarmes and police are supposed to police the community. They're supposed to protect you against all this. But where are they? Where are they that people have resorted to vigilante? They still train them. But what did you do with them? They deploy them on the highway. They themselves become thieves by extorting money from people, travelers, drivers, and whoever they can find. So they have, in fact, security schools into training thieves themselves. And so people are now helpless. In a helpless situation, what do? You defend yourself. But again, I've said, mob justice is not the law. Yes, it is illegal to do that. But it's going to be rare to find somebody punishing those guys for breaking the law by killing whoever they suspected. Nobody's going to punish them because the whole society has become lawless. Around that place, you have places like a bat table, you have a police there, you have a magistrate sitting there, you have a whole court with all what goes with the court, a prosecutor, a magistrate, a prison even in Bangui. But nobody is going to do that because this whole society has become lawless, created by the state. Otherwise, again, I've asked, why are they doing this vigilante? Why is there no official? They beat the guy, they almost kill him. The one that they are careful, they'll go and hand him to the police. So him being pushed into the truck there. Not the end of it. People do mob justice essentially because after that guy is having killed, a few days, a few months after, they are in the streets doing what they were caught for doing. And so people are frustrated and they take the law into their hands. And again, as I've said, above all, nobody is punishing those who have the law into their own hands by mob justice. So they have legalized mob justice, which is wrong. Just like they have legalized extortion by police and gendarmes from the road, which is by itself a crime. Standing on the road and taking money from people, it's a crime for which you, the police officer, should lose your job, or the gendarme. Not just lose your job, you should go to jail. And the good old days of southern Cameroon, the policeman was standing on the road to do traffic, but he was also controlled. If you were caught with the 500 francs you took from somebody, or he extorted from, you lose your job on the spot. And that was the end of your job. And you go to jail. And so that is how a modern society is supposed to function. There's nothing like modern society in Cameroon. Worse still, there's nothing like a modern society in Ambazonia, which is now 80 years into a war. And so, until we get these people out, rebuild our own legal system, rebuild our own security system, then can we be able to regulate this? Again, as I've said to conclude, criminality in Cameroon, it's in America, it is in London. And so, crime is defined in the books, punishment is defined in the books, how to get criminals punished is properly laid out. But all these things are falling under the table in the so-called Cameroon. Because, in summary, there is whole close, near total absence of governance. We're back to the law of the jungle, which we do not want to be. We didn't choose to be where we are. It is unfortunate, but we have to get ourselves out of it and then fix the pieces, pick the pieces and move on. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. Moving on, a disturbing video had surfaced showcasing La Republic de Cameroon colonial police officers mercilessly assaulting a civilian in broad daylight. This appalling display of brutality is a deep reminder of the systemic failure of law enforcement agencies of La Republic du Cameroon to uphold their sworn duty to protect and to serve. The fact that these colonial officers are paid with taxpayers' funds to safeguard the public makes their actions all the more reprehensible. This incident is not an isolated event, but rather part of a disturbing trend of La Republic du Cameroon colonial police misconduct and abuse of power that is rather more alarming in Ambazonia. Time and again, we have witnessed instances of excessive force, arbitrary abductions, and blatant disregard for human rights perpetrated against Ambazonians. The perpetrators of these heinous acts are often shielded by a culture of impunity with no meaningful consequences for their actions from La Republic du Cameroon colonial regime. They would rather offer protective transfers to other zones to continue with their atrocities. But then, let's remind ourselves, the primary function of law enforcement is to maintain public safety and trust. However, the continuous violations of people's rights by La Republic du Cameroon police officers has led to a precipitous decline in confidence in the system, reinforcing their quest to be free from such a system by Ambazonians. Ambazonians are increasingly wary of interacting with the colonial police, fearing harassment, intimidation, or worse. This breakdown in trust has severe consequences as it undermines the very fabric of the society and the rule of law. The persistence of colonial police brutality and abuse of power is a damning indictment of the current pallbearers' inability to govern effectively, because a government that fails to protect its citizens, instead allowing them to be brutalized by those who want to serve, has lost its legitimacy. The colonial regime's inaction in the face of these atrocities is a clear indication of its complexity and lack of commitment to upholding human rights. And so we must demand accountability from the Colonial Law Enforcement Agency and the colonial regime that enables them. This includes thorough investigations. All allegations of colonial police misconduct must be thoroughly investigated and perpetrators held accountable. And so the video of colonial police officers molesting a civilian in public is what we can tag as a very shameful indictment of the La Republic du Cameroon law enforcement system and the failed regime that enables it. The time for change is now. And Barrister Mbeseha, you agree with me that a change that is embedded in independence for Ambazonians is what is even paramount in the minds of Ambazonians as it stands. Now, that video is quite sad, because we just talked about protection, which is not even gotten by the people. And I did mention that the people, what they get is extortion. And we do not have the detail of these, but then this is happening in public and we can see motorcycles around. This may be related to, extortion not being approved by the one who is supposed to be extorted from and all of that. But that's the kind of torture that Ambazonians face on a regular basis from the Colonial La Republic du Cameroon police. That video is quite horrible. What would your thought be?
Well, it's sad. It's very, very sad. Because like in the previous segment we said, it is a symbol that the society has become without a government. That is a free-for-all. But just looking at the video, that's the video. It's tape recorded. If you see that video, just saying it, who is the criminal right there? We don't know what that guy did, but we don't know he committed no crime. What you see there are people, policemen in uniform, assaulting somebody, a civilian, kicking, reducing him to zero, in uniform, paid by taxpayers' money. So, on the face of it, first impression, those policemen are criminals. They should be in jail in the first place. No question asked. They should be in jail. No matter what that guy was suspected for doing, if he did anything, he did not deserve such treatment. And so the people in uniform are the criminals on the face of it. No question asked. Why? They are wearing uniform. And they are doing all this with impunity. Where else in the world do you expect civilians, a civilian taxpayer, being brutalized publicly by uniform officers? Uniforms are dresses bought from taxpayers' money. Not just being brutalized, they're being brutalized and being filmed and doing that with impunity. This is somewhere, maybe in Bamenda, maybe in Boya. It will take us to the segment that we had 2 days ago, where in that Boya or Bamenda or that regional nonsense, you have something they call the Regional House of Assembly, Regional House of Chiefs. We're seeing it here on video. Can they claim not to see this? Oh, they see it and they are toothless. Would they even hear them talk something about it? No. And so why should Ambazonia go through this? This is being done publicly. You and me are watching the thing. Priests, bishops, popes are watching it. They are silent over it. Administrators, the DOs, governors, they are watching the same videos like you and me. And they say nothing. How far can criminality go without being punished? It is beyond imagination that is happening publicly. Happening to armless civilians. Not just armless civilians, I guess. Those are Ambazonians. And they are doing that in the watchful eyes of standing people there. People are standing there watching what's going on. Helpless. So this is beyond imagination. This is totally unacceptable anywhere in the civilized world. And so these people in uniform, they are, as I've said earlier, they are a chunk of criminals. Imagine that they went to school. But it's not a man assaulting that guy. All of them. 5, 6. They have a team leader. He's taking part in the assault. And so what are their instructions when they go out, assault the people, extort from them what you want? It might be extorting money. That's possible. It might also be extorting just a confession for some wrongdoing that they did not commit. And so that's their trademark, which is totally unacceptable in Ambazonia in particular, unacceptable anywhere in the civilized world in general. And so we have much of this. It has become just unbearable. And which is why we're dying. Look, good enough, we don't know where that guy ended. Maybe he died like Wazizi. Maybe he died like many others who have been killed and unaccounted for. The question Ambazonians ask themselves is, how long shall we endure this? How long can we take this? Enough is enough. Over to you.
All right, Barrister Mbeseha, in your words, how long can we take this? How long? Well, the next report would definitely answer that. Well, Tata Lionel, a 30-year-old Ambazonian man from Combohurst, tragically passed away just 3 months after being released from the Kondenge Colonial prison. He had spent 3 years in what many define as an unlawful detention. So the deceased detention was rooted in a serious misunderstanding where he was falsely accused of being a terrorist. As the colonial government terms the Ambazonian fighters, well, his story begins with a series of unfortunate events that led to his imprisonment, accused of being affiliated with the Ambazonian warriors and being labeled an Amber Boy. He found himself behind bars despite fleeing his hometown to escape violence. Friends and family says that Tata was misunderstood and that a language barrier may have played a crucial role in his arrest by the colonial police. Eyewitnesses report that when Tata was detained, he had no identification documents and was found in bandages after being there 3 long years at the La Republic to Cameroon Colonial Dungeon, the Kondenge prison. He was finally released, but not in good health. Friends noted that Tata appeared frail and unwell upon his return to the community. Well, unfortunately, just 3 months after his release, Tata died. His untimely passing has sparked outrage amongst human rights advocates and community members who are demanding answers about the treatment he received while incarcerated, with many questioning whether his imprisonment was justified and whether the colonial authorities acted appropriately. Meanwhile, advocates are calling for a thorough investigation into Tata's Leoner's case and are demanding accountability within the colonial justice system. Bryce Mbeseha, can this be the answer to how long Ambazonians will continue to suffer? Definitely not. Go ahead, please.
Certainly not an answer. Before even analyzing whether the detention was right or wrong, that's not even necessary. Because at the end of it, after 3 long years of whatever thing they did to him, he was released. In other words, even by their own colonial law, he had committed no crime. They found nothing to charge him with, even to a truncated charge. They didn't find one. And so they let him go and die. But what he underwent during the period of his detention, or even torture, is what is at stake. In summary, you can not begin to say they came out and died. No, they killed him. There's slow death and there's immediate death. They killed him. Why? By their own records, for doing nothing, because he was not charged for anything even after 3 years. So why did he have to go through this? What was he doing in Colonial or whatever preserved him for? For committing what crime? No, it's not a crime. Because he was released, he didn't die in jail. He was released. Clear, not charged, nothing charged on him, even an illegal charge, nothing was brought against the poor boy. And so he had committed no crime. He had been taken into jail. He had been tortured to death. That's the summary. They killed him. Why? By their own story, he was suspected for being associated with Ambazonia. So whoever calls himself an Ambazonian, they kill you, they torture you. Which law in the world allows that? Even if being Ambazonia is a crime, if you were caught, it should be proven that you were Ambazonian. But they suspected he is Ambazonian. They took him to jail, tortured him. 3 years after they discovered that he was not even an Ambazonian, that's why they released him. Because if he was an Ambazonian, they would have sentenced him to life jail, like the Sisicus. They found that he had committed no crime, but he had undergone the torture, the result of which is death. This is criminality beyond comprehension, and it needs sanctioning. Not just you, Ambazonian. We have to make this cry. The sound has been made. The former president of Gabon said, make the noise, make the noise. We would make the noise in addition to making action. These things are not forgivable. They are not pardonable. These guys who are doing all these things are not going to go unpunished. They are going to be answerable somewhere, somehow, for what they are doing to Ambazonians. And again, we remember again, from their own story, this guy is associated for being an Ambazonian. And he has to go through this. His death should rather encourage us to fight this war, as the president said some time ago, to the last man standing. Because the crime for being an Ambazonian where we are in the physical area called Cameroon is death. Is that what did this boy do? To go through what he went and finally to die. Just be an Ambazonian. So to be Ambazonian is a crime. And therefore, this should encourage us to say that, look, if we let go of this thing, what shall we say this man died for? He died for doing nothing other than suspicion that he was an Ambazonian. And so we have to fight this thing to the end. As I said in the last segment, to the last man standing. Because we're not supposed to be here. But we're here. This is not where we belong. And so the death of this man, like others, should rather light the fire in us to fight this thing so that our children tomorrow don't fight anymore. Let us fight this to the end. Finish the fighting now, rather than postpone it for another generation to come undergo the same thing. And so it's unfortunate that guy died, but records are kept, I'm sure, and at an appropriate moment, those people, if not all, some of them, will have to answer for those things, either politically or criminally. They are unpunished. And so may that boy's soul rest in peace. Over to you.
All right, Barrister Mbeseha. We have an audio by Dr. Martin Mungwa. We just want you to hold on and react briefly to that audio once we play it.
Alert, alert, alert. This is Dr. Martin Mungwa, Secretary of State for Communication and IT for the government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. Good day, Ambazonians, and good day, the ASA. I come today once again for give an explanation and for also educate our people on the events that will happen for this war and how we get for learn for interpret things. I want to make it very clear. Say the people will they be against we, not only in La Republic, but in agents for La Republic, like the Amber Boys way, it be under the control of Atanganji Paul. The ASA, now we self-defense group. And these people, they be there for make sure, say, we stay in peace. Now, whenever anything happen for you, and instead of you for referring to the to La Republic talks, you know, say you don't already be a dead person. Because when they come, they need to come now for solve the problem, now for destroy any human being will be around. When we take the case of what will be happen for Pinyin, when we kill some two criminals, we obviously this one now Amber Boys will be under a Paul Atanganji. They come out talk say they don't eliminate ASA for Pinyin. And when later on, two people that will argue inside bar for 1.25 for Pinyin, one of them call La Republique du Cameroon or B. And when they come, what we do, they kill everybody. And even some people would be there for that bar. And now, I think some of them they for hospital for treatment. Which be the meaning for this message? I want to make them again very clear. Say in the eyes of La Republique, you not get any person way if you consider yourself innocent for Ambazonia. So when you get problem, you feel it for resolve and for call B. In other words, you will actually call now for the death not only of yourself but for anybody will be around you. Now the village of Pinyin, it don't lose 8 of a picking them unnecessarily because of this action. We give also know say this so-called Atanganji boys. Now criminals when they cause havoc, cause stealing in our neighborhoods, and they bring a lot of confusion for destroy our fight for this complete freedom. So they come here for advice every Ambazonian. Say you not be safe in the presence of La Republique du Cameroon soldiers, because whenever they come, they consider everybody as an enemy. So if you did the thing that say you be against this war and you want for being on the side of La Republique, you not be safe. In the face of La Republique, all we look the same. When they come see anybody, they'll say, all we will fight against them and they will kill you. So this one a piece of advice what they give for everybody. Every Ambazonian will do for anywhere for Ambazonia or elsewhere. Because whenever they look at you, you'll be an enemy. So people when they did on top fence, they check say they be safe. I just want to make sure someone understand would not be safe at all. So this one a warning for everybody. And you give a really be very careful. If you think say if you get problem with somebody, the solution of a call be or La Republique du Cameroon. Because in other words, you don't already spell their own death warrant that we don't get for yourself. So I want to bring this to the attention of everybody. Have a blessed day.
Oh, welcome back, Barrister Mbeseha. That's the voice of Dr. Martin Mungwa, given the alert situation as usual. What would you say about this?
Well, I think Dr. Mungwa has said what he's supposed to say. It all depends upon whether our people listen to him and do what he has recommended. You see, most of our people are mistaken. These talks you call B, they are not policemen, even though are castrated policemen and gendarmes. They are people whose mission is to kill. They are trained to kill. They are not trained to investigate anything. They are not trained to settle disputes between you and your friend, quarreling in a bar or quarreling over a woman or whatever it is. That's not their function. They are trained to BIR for Brigade d'Intervention Rapide Intervention Unit. They are not coming to call B. They are not coming to make peace. They are coming to eliminate whoever they don't like. They are not coming to arrest you or investigate. No, that's not their function. And so you don't do that to your brother or to your sister. You don't do that. This is happening in Pinyin. And as I've said earlier in the last segment, Pinyin is not far from Bamenda town, far back. That's the seat of the so-called government of West. We have everybody there, including police commissioners, gendarme brigade, and so on, and generals, and they're all there. It also includes the regional house of chief, the regional house of whatever thing, and the independent reconciliator. This is an event that took place in Pinyin and publicly admitted by the military that they did it. They killed these people, officially admitting it. The question is, what are these so-called authorities in Bamenda saying? What are they saying? Not even a word from them. Rather, 2 days ago we heard them issuing something. Why would they manage a budget? A budget? To do what? To dig roads, to build schools, and not the children of these people who are being killed? So it is criminality beyond explanation. And so, to be safe, we are already faced with the situation. If you have a dispute with your brother or your sister, with your cousin, with your uncle, with your father, better resolve it in any way before all this thinking what traditional resolutions of conflicts in the community, in the villages. Let us go back to that thing, waiting for when we can have better things. Thieves did not start stealing today. Stealing have been there for where it started. But thieves are not being killed. People stole others' plantains. People stole others' goats and pigs and cows. People stole others' people's money. So theft is not a new invention. And so let us go back to the traditional way, because wherever you turn, if you turn to the Jew, they extract money from you. If you turn to the gendarme or the police, they extract money from you, they lock you up, or they even kill you. So you are not faced with difficulty. If these guys, whatever thing they were talking in the bar in Pinyin, if they had gone to themselves and seen the quarterhead or whoever, the problem would have been resolved. But they turned over to these criminals who come down and do what they want to do. And because nobody is punishing them for doing it. Because again, in a regular country, those people like Ngaribu should have been behind bars. But we saw the corpses of people being littered with guns, and they are walking free in a country called Cameroon. I doubt very much if they can do that in Bafoussam. I doubt if they can do that in Gaoundéré or somewhere else. They wouldn't do that. They are doing that because it is Pinyin. They are doing that because it's Ambazonia. They are doing that because they are looking for Amba. Amba are who? They are British Southern Cameroonians who are supposed to be eliminated at all costs. And so this is where we find ourselves. And then, as I said in the last segment, we have to get ourselves out of this nonsense. Nobody will fight for us. We have to fight for this thing ourselves. We might want somebody to help us, but nobody will come to help you until you take up the fight yourself. And so this thing should stop. Dr. Mongwa's advice is to the point. Avoid those people. They are not friends. If you deceive yourself that they are friends, you're deceiving yourself. Atanga and Njah, for example, might bear a Bamenda name, but that's not a friend. It's an enemy who will drink your blood to survive politically. So they are not friends. And so, even if they transform themselves into your neighbors, then you know that they are acting for these people. Avoid them. Because to them means looking for. I think Dr. Mongwa's advice is to the point. Follow it as far as you can in order to be safe. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. Thank you so much for your thoughts, the advice, and the way you've presented all of the issues tonight. Thank you so much for being part of Undaunted. See you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, please. So coming up next is News Across Africa. Well, let's start with Mali. Mali is suspending the issuance of new artisanal mining permits to foreigners after a series of accidents in recent weeks, leaving dozens dead. Well, on February 15th, the collapse of an artisanal gold mine killed 43 people, mostly women, in the gold-rich Kayas region. Earlier, on January 29, 13 artisanal miners, including women and 3 children, were killed in southwest Mali when a tunnel they were digging for gold flooded. In response to the fatalities, Mali's Council of Ministers decided at its weekly meeting on Wednesday to suspend the issuance of artisanal mining permits to persons of foreign nationality. Well, according to a government statement, the statement also announced the dismissal of administrative and security officials linked to 2 recent accidents. Mali is one of Africa's top gold producers and hosts industrial mines operated by international companies, including Barrick Gold. After seizing power in a 2020 military coup, Mali's leaders pledged to scrutinize the country's mining sector to ensure the state benefits more from gold prices, which have reached all-time highs. This has led to a series of disputes with foreign firms, including an ongoing conflict with the Barrick Gold. Mali's industrial gold production has plunged 23% year-over-year since 2024. Coming up next is news across the globe. Well, in a groundbreaking discovery, China has unearthed massive deposits of thorium, a rare earth mining, in the Bayan Obo mining complex in Inner Mongolia. Now, this find is poised to revolutionize China's energy landscape, potentially securing the country's household energy and how it demands it for thousands of years. Thorium, a naturally occurring radioactive element, has long been recognized for its potential as a clean and sustainable energy source. When used as fuel in nuclear reaction, thorium can produce energy with minimal waste and reduce risks of nuclear accidents. The Bayan Obo mining complex, located in the Inner Mongolia autonomous region of northern China, well, it has yielded an astonishing amount of thorium. Well, according to reports, the mine contains a deposit capable of supplying China's household energy demands almost forever. So this discovery is a significant boom for China's energy security, enabling the country to reduce its reliance on fossil fuel and mitigate its environment footprint as the world's largest emitter of greenhouse gases. China's transition to cleaner energy sources is crucial for global efforts to combat climate change. So the implications of this discovery extends beyond China's borders, as the world is grappling with the challenges of energy, security, sustainability, and climate change. The potential of thorium as a clean energy source is likely to gather significant attention. China's discovery may pave the way for a new era of cooperation and innovation in the global energy sector. So who is the king of innovation? Should we give it to China already? Because they seem to be 3 years ahead of other countries. Not even talking about the developing countries. Anyways, Europe unveils ambitious €800 billion defense plan amidst global uncertainty. So in a move to bolster European defense capability, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has announced a comprehensive plan to mobilize approximately €800 billion for defense initiatives across the continent. This development comes on the heels of the United States' decision to suspend military aid to Ukraine, which is signaling a shift in Washington's foreign policy focus. And so here are a 5-part plan for enhanced defense capability. The European Commission's proposal outlines a 5-part strategy to rapidly increase defense expenditures and enhance military capabilities. This initiative aims to provide immediate support to Ukraine amidst escalating tensions with Russia, while also ensuring Europe's long-term security and defense. So we have rapid modernization. It enhances Europe's military capabilities through rapid modernization and investment in cutting-edge technologies, increased defense, which is encouraging member states to significantly increase defense expenditures to meet emerging security challenges, urgent support for Ukraine. Of course, this will provide immediate support to Ukraine to bolster its defense capabilities and address humanitarian needs. Also, the long-term security, which is all about security and defense through strategic investments and cooperation amongst member states. So as the global security landscape continues to evolve, what we know is that Europe's ambitious defense plan marks a significant shift towards enhanced regional security and cooperation. Will China allow them to lead on this? Oh well, as time goes on, we'll definitely find out. Well, that's where we draw the curtains on tonight's Undaunted. But before we go, let's take a look at the major stories. Well, tonight we talked about the lecturer who has been detained over the rape of minors. We took a look at the Colonial police brutality and the erosion of public trust, while also taking a walk to Njah population where the locals took mob justice against presumed kidnap gang. We told you tonight that a man has died 3 months after being released from La Republic to Cameroon Colonial dungeon, while Mali suspends artisanal mine permits for foreigners after accidents. And also, we did tell you that China is striking an energy jackpot. Well, that's it for tonight's Undaunted. Bringing to the news on Stories. On behalf of Barrister Mbeseha, we say good night and God bless.